Hi everyone, Julia here from The Art of Creating, and I'm back again with the Crafty Maven Getaway channel, another video for Free Flow Wednesday. This is the inspiration piece, and when I looked at it, I immediately thought travel. So I wanted to use some of my travel themed papers, which happen to be, in this case, an old collection by Studio Calico called Atlantic, I think. So it's basically mostly water themed. So there is embellishments to do with anchors, water, boats, that sort of stuff. Colors are very blue with a few hints of yellows and pinks. So when I looked at that collection, I also thought a photo of our old cruise trip might go well with it as well. And I dug up one of the photos and I decided to use this particular one on this layout. So the first thing I did was I have taken it's like a corrugated cardboard tape, but it's not very sticky anymore. So I've torn it in half, keeping in mind that I wanted the top bit to be slightly narrower and the bottom one slightly bigger, so that the bottom of the layout looks a little bit heavier. Then I have taken a skinny strip of the yellow paper up the top and a wider strip of the blue paper down the bottom. I've done the edges of both of those as well. I just really like that look. And then I've also taken a strip of this anchor paper, just a little bit of the dark paper to ground the bottom of the layout. I'm using these little magnets, the craft mat that I have, sorry, not craft mat, what is it called, craft mat? The blue thing that you see underneath my Ranger mat, it is magnetic, so I'm using some magnets up the top and the bottom to just hold the strips together before I commit myself to the placement. And in the meantime, I am going to do some misting on my white cardstock for the background. I didn't want to leave background white. I wanted to add some interest to it, but I didn't want to add too much pattern paper because I've got quite bold colors in the top and the bottom, as well as the photo mat that I will do shortly. So I'm using two colors of inks. Both are by Tattered Angels and they are all the mists, but I really like them. One is True Turquoise that I did first, and then Icicle Blue that I'm doing now. The True Turquoise has got it's kind of like a chalky blue color with a bronze shimmer in it. So it looks a little bit like verdigris, and it just gives it a really nice shine. You can't see it on the video, but you can see it really well in real life, and it's really pretty. So both of those colors together remind me of the ocean, so I wanted to use them as a bit of a background behind my photo. I've added some splatters as well, just to add a little bit more to the background but not overpower it. And as you see, I am going to cover up a fair bit of it, but that's just what happens with the mixed media backgrounds. You work on it as a whole and then you cover up a lot of it, and little bits and pieces are peeking out from behind the photos and paper layers and embellishments, and that's what gives the depth to the layout. Now I'm going to do some die cutting. I've got a map die cut that I got from Studio Calico a long time ago. This is a map of Australia, and I'm going to cut it out of a book paper. So this is just an old vintage book that I have pulled apart, and I was working on another project with it, so these are the pages that I didn't need. So I'm gradually using them as layering on my layouts, and in this case I've used it to die cut this map. I just thought that die cutting it from a vintage paper would give it more of a vintage look and more of a travel, I guess, sort of travel water type, cruise or long adventures, that sort of a feel to it. And I'm going to use that die cut pretty much where it is. And just to add a little bit more to the background, I'm going to use this really big stamp. I'm pretty sure it's also by Tattered Angels, and I also think that I might have a mask for it as well. So you can use a mask and then stamp over it, and it sort of all matches together, if that makes sense. So I'm going to use this one with a blue ink. It's a chalk ink by Prima, and it's called Blue Jay. The reason I've used chalk ink at this point is I knew I wasn't going to use any more liquid media on top, otherwise it would run and it would smudge. If I wanted to stamp it first and then do my misting, I would have done it with a more permanent ink. I've just glued my layers down. I've cut down the white paper, the white background paper, slightly, probably 1/4 inch on each side, and I've just backed it with a patterned black paper just to give it a bit of a border. And then I've glued my strips of paper on top and the bottom, pretty much where I've had them placed before. I'm working on my layers now, and what I was going for here is I wanted to make, well, initially I thought I wanted to make this photo as a bit of a postcard, but I didn't know how to make that, so I decided to make it look like a picture frame. So I wanted to keep my layering behind the photo pretty much as a straight photo mat with several layers to make it look like a picture. And then I'm going to make it look like the picture is actually hanging on the wall. So just 3 layers with the pattern papers, making sure that I've got some dark paper around there to make the photo stand out. And I'm going to use this cork piece as the grounding element. It kind of looks like a bit of a cork board that the photo is kind of like stuck to it and hanging off it by a thread. And I really liked that look, and I really had a lot of fun putting this together. So I've decided to use this brown and white striped twine, and then that cork piece, and I used the brad on top of it. And I thought about using a button or something else, but and I also thought about cutting off the prongs from the brad so that it would sit a little bit flatter on there, but I just decided to actually use the brad as a brad because I wanted to wrap this twine around it so that it looks like it's actually wrapped and hanging off it as opposed to behind it or around it. So the brad actually gave me that look. So you can see a bit of a difference. So if it's sitting behind there, it doesn't quite have the same look, but if it's wrapped in between those layers, it looks more natural. I'm just fiddling around with it, just making sure that I've got the right length, that I'm going to fit everything on the page, that the photo will be positioned in the right spot, and when I'm happy, I'm going to glue it down. And of course, not forgetting the little part of the map, because it cut it in pretty much pieces. That little map of Tasmania down the bottom just kept getting lost, so I just keep fiddling with it, try and put it back where it belongs so that I don't forget about it. It was tempting to not worry about it, but then I thought it might look a bit strange without Tasmania being a part of Australia, so I made sure that I didn't forget that little piece. Now I'm going to cut out a few embellishments that I wanted to use on the page. These are stamps and die cut steel dies that I wanted to include. They are travel themed that I just pulled out particularly for this project. And this little camera I'm stamping with distress ink. I think it's chipped sapphire. And there is a matching die that goes with it. You will see me pull it out and cut out this little camera. I got this stamp set from Spotlight in Australia, so I'm not sure what kind of stores you might be able to find it in. I'll just have a look who makes it. It is by Diamond Press, so you might be able to get it from your local scrapbook store or online somewhere. And like I said, it's a matching stamp and a die set. So it cuts out the little bits in, like inside the camera as well. So you can see that there. And I'm going to use it on the page. I've also pulled out Dynamics stamp and die set. It is an older set. I've had it in my stash for quite a while. It includes various sentiments, a few ticket things, journaling spots, and then it's got a matching ticket die. So I've stamped a couple of them and cut those out by hand, and then I've cut out one using a die and also stamped on top of it with blue ink as well. So this particular one I am stamping with VersaFine Vintage Sepia brown ink, and this particular ink is really good for fine details, hence the name VersaFine. So it's really good for intricate details, small words, intricate images. And this particular one I'm stamping with Distress ink because it didn't really have intricate words and things like that. I wanted to make sure that stamped really finely, so I didn't worry about it, and I just used the same color of Distress ink as I have used previously. And then the same with the other ticket, I've stamped it with the Distress ink as well. Now I'm trying to layer them in between all the different strips. Also, you'll notice that the yellow strip that used to be up the top is now down the bottom. It was really bothering me up the top. I'm not sure why. The reason I initially put it there was because I thought lighter colors would look better on top, and generally speaking, darker colors look better down the bottom, just to ground it and make the bottom of the layout or bottom of whatever design you're working on. It makes it a bit heavier and more grounded, but in this case it just didn't look right, so I took it off the top, put it down the bottom, replaced the top strip with the brown and blue paper, and I like how this looks a lot better. And I'm gluing down my little tickets, placing the rest of my embellishments. Now I'm looking at the puffy stickers that I've got. This was like a travel set. I can't remember who it was by. It is travel themed puffy stickers, and I pretty much used the rest of the pack on this layout. So I've used a few words, there were some arrows there. I'm just working on the 3 clusters. There's a small cluster up the top of the photo, the big cluster where the map is, and then another big cluster underneath it. And I'm trying to keep all my embellishments in those clusters so that it doesn't look like all the embellishments are just randomly thrown onto the page, so that they've got a bit of consistency. I tried to keep colors in the 3 areas. So I've got orange on the left, I've got a bit of a pinkish orangey on the bottom, and in the travel word up the top, got a few cork elements, I've got some brads. You can see how there's a circle element up the top on the left in the camera, and I will add a brad later down the bottom as well. Doing some stamping with VersaFine ink again. This is like a postage stamp type design, and I'm just stamping it in the 3 spots as well, just to add to those 3 clusters. And now I'm going to add that little brad. It's an orange brad from the same collection by Studio Calico called Atlantic. I'm going to put that brad through, and that just adds another circle element on the page, and a 3rd area of the orange color in this cluster down the bottom as well. Not forgetting to glue the little Tasmania in there before I lose it completely. And a little boat, because this was a cruise, so I wanted to add something to symbolize it as well. This is the final touch. I'm going to add some journaling in that pink ticket, and that completes my page. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to check out other videos in the Crafty Maven Getaway channel on the video list, and also you can see my videos on my channel, links to which will be below in the description box, as well as other social media. So don't forget to subscribe and give me a like and check out other videos. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!